eating disorder got so bad, like I'd make myself sick after every meal. I was just so dehydrated. I hadn't had periods for 7 years. My boyfriend at the time obviously wasn't the most healthiest relationship. He had an alcohol problem, of course, because addiction attracts addiction. I get a call from the doctors. I'm 29. I'd come off the pill, cold turkey, and I got told I was going into the perimenopause. And I was told that I probably wouldn't be able to have children. And I remember that moment being like, Lucy, sort your shit out. The first thing that came to me was an energy healer.
Welcome back, beautiful souls, to another episode of Liberate Your Bliss. I'm your host, Chelsea, and today's conversation is one that's close to my heart and full of both light and depth. I'm joined by the radiant Lucy, a new Kundalini practitioner. Lucy is not only a dear sister on this path, but also someone who brings so much joy, so much realness, and so much embodiment to the world of healing. And in this episode, we're talking all things Kundalini energy, and not just the sparkly Instagrammable side of it. We dive into the parts people don't always talk about, the emotional detoxes, the shadow work, and how this energy shakes things up in every area of your life, especially in relationships. You'll learn what Kundalini energy really is and how it activates deep healing and awakening, and why embodiment is essential for integrating spiritual practices into real life, and how this healing shifts your relationships and how those shifts are actually mirrors for your own evolution. This one's fun, raw, and full of love, and I know it's going to leave you feeling both inspired and seen. So grab your tea, take a breath, and let's drop in.
Hey.
So good to see you. So last I spoke to you, you were moving to Australia. Now you're back. So what happened?
Story of my life. So I had been in Bali since last August. I'd had a couple of breaks, but I think it's quite healthy to regularly leave Bali and just get a bit of a reality check. So I just come out of my container. So backstory, I did 4-month Kundalini training, and then we had a weekend intensive, and I integrated, but I went straight back into life. And naturally, when you come out of an intensive, which you've probably spoken about, life gets a little bit wobbly in most places, and it got really wobbly. And I was like, I just need to be back in my comfort zone, which is Australia. Even though I'm English, Australia is my home. So I was like, right, packed everything up, freaked my housemate out. Everyone was like, okay, God, she's going. And then I got there and I was like, I'm not meant to be here. My best friend was like, babe, just sleep for the next 5 days and make no rational decisions. I was like, I already know I'm not meant to be here. And she was like, I know.
Okay, so we pushed the panic button a little bit too
Massively.
quick. Well, I think it's really a big topic that we should talk about is integration.
Yes.
So I think a lot of people come to Bali for this spiritual awakening. And I'm sorry, spirituality is not glamorous.
It's ugly.
It is not Kundalini Botox like some people want to say. It's just bullshit. And if you are not taught to integrate, you are having these, if people can just understand consciousness, right? Like the universe is expanding at an exponential. That is like a very daunting thing to think about. And when we have this awakening, our consciousness expands, but then it has to contract.
Mm-hmm.
And when it contracts because the person that you went into the healing with on a weekend like that was maybe in resonance with this frequency. And then you do all this energy work, and immediately the energy shifts and your energy's up here, but you're in this safe vortex where everything makes sense.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden your energy's here and you go back to a life that resonated here.
Yeah.
And then all these things, it's like, oh my God, do I even like my job? Do I want to be here? Does this nothing make sense anymore?
Yeah.
It's not because you've done anything wrong. It's not to punish you. It's just the law of resonance.
Yeah.
It's just that everything that was in resonance for you may not be anymore because you may not have consciously chosen to live where you are and to do what you do. So I guess integration was tough.
Well, I actually think now that I've spoken to some of the other women in the container, mine was pretty easy.
Comparatively.
Yeah, mine was pretty chilled. I had just a lot of women's stuff, whereas I thought mine would be men, but I think I probably cleared the men's stuff probably early days at the beginning of the container. But from the women I've caught up with, they had a lot of ex-boyfriend stuff come up. I won't go into it because it's their stuff. But for me, it was relationships with women. I love men, I love my man, but it was all about female friendships. Big time, but left, right, and center. And things my home shifted twice when I first got back, and I'm very much a grounded person that loves my home. That was what went rocky. And also, last year my corporate job disappeared, and once again this year doors were closed. That's a no, So I thought mine was quite rocky, but when I spoke to some of the women, I was like, I had a great time.
Yeah,
I just slipped to Australia for 5 days.
It was only 5 days.
It was 5 days, but I took everything. Like my luggage was overweight by 23 kgs. I had to be like, and they're like, Miss, you come back next week. I was like, I'm not sure, babe, but just in case. Yeah.
Too funny.
Yeah.
If you could go back in time and tell that girl that was freaking out, what would you give her for advice?
Slow down, babe.
Slow
down.
down.
Yeah.
It's so important that when we are in an emotional state or a trauma response or a part of our shadows activated, we are not in the logical part of the brain. We cannot make logical decisions. It's really, really important to regulate the nervous system before we do big moves.
Of course. And like practice what I preach, telling my clients this as well. You know, I'm always talking about integration. But I think sometimes when you get so picked up and lifted in the time and you're healing everyone else, you almost forget. Take your own advice. Follow your own stuff.
And I think we have to fuck up to learn the lesson.
Oh, that was a fuck up. But I'm so proud of myself. That was the only fuck up.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
It could have been way bigger.
Exactly. So let's talk a little Kundalini. I think Kundalini is a big topic. So how did you find Kundalini energy?
It found me. I know that's really cheesy. As a kid, my granddad was a doctor and he'd take me around the garden. He'd tap my chakras. And I didn't realize this as a kid. And he was one of my best friends and he would be teaching me my chakras. Kid, I broke my arm really young because I had very strong energy in my hands and it was quite scary for me. So as my rehabilitation, my dad would teach me the hot and cold game where like there'd be a ball under one of the cups and I'd had to work out which was hotter and which was colder to get the sensitivity back in my hands after I broke my arm. So if I look back on like real old school times, I was being trained to be in the energy healing world. It was 2020, lockdown, all of that stuff. I was doing a lot of like yoga, a lot of breath of fire and all those things. And I kept getting the same download, Kundalini. And I was like, what is this? Like I'd done my Reiki, I'd done all those things. And I was like, what is this? And then fast track 4 years later, I got to Bali and then my hands would start waking me up at night, like 3 a.m., like burning, like really burning. And I'd be like, I'm losing the plot. And I went to see one of our mutual healers, Kata, and she was like, oh, miss your hands. And I was like, no, I don't want to talk about them. Like, I'm so embarrassed. She was like, you know what you're meant to be doing with your hands. And then a girlfriend was like, just go to this retreat called Jack's. Just calm down. Like, you're really stressed. Got to this retreat for the weekend. And this is going to sound really woo-woo. But my ancestors just came in and they were like, you got to stop ignoring this now because we are putting you up against the wall. And then I got made redundant.
Beautiful.
So that's how it happened in a nutshell.
And now, how are you loving holding Kundalini space?
I'm loving it, but I am working out like my own style. Everyone's got their own style, right? Everyone's got their own energy, but it's fascinating the clients that I attract in because it's always our stuff, right?
Yeah. So tell me more.
It's hilarious. So the women I know, it's all women now. I used to work with men.
I was just going to say, and when you first came to me, you told me you really only work with men. And I said, I see you doing womb work.
Yeah.
I told you that.
Yeah. And I was like, no. And
like,
then
only men.
I'm
like,
and then realized.
Because I was holding you and I had a download and all I saw was you working on wombs. So
no, for me, that was me just trying to heal people that wanted to date me.
Bingo, baby.
Bingo. And that all went off in January. Like one of the last guys at the time I dated, that just like disappeared after my container. And I realized it was the subconscious like inner healer wanting to heal men, but actually men that wanted to be with me. So
okay. Now what was your relationship like with your dad and mom growing up?
My dad was one of my best friends. He was sort of the main kind of caregiver. My mom was the breadwinner, so she went to work. She worked for a TV company in the UK. She was very high up, very like in HR. So she went back to work after 2 weeks, and that's been a big like work in progress for me. Of like, she was a mom, she was the provider. She had to go back to work, you know, like. And that's like abandonment's always been the big old wound that we all have. I was raised a lot by my dad. I had nannies. I had a very privileged upbringing. And then my brother was gay. So I was living like the unicorn life, really. But for me, I developed eating disorders at the age of 8. So my life became very
8. That's a little young for eating disorder. Why? What was that from?
I had a best friend at the time and we were like sisters because I was often with nannies and childminders. All my little friends were like my brothers and sisters. It was probably what you term as a trauma bond now as an adult. But for me, they became all my buddies and like, I was a very social community builder. I still am now. But her and I basically became obsessed with food together. And it was our form of bonding. She was a little bit taller than me, but she weighed less than me because of her frame. Like I'm a bit more curvier. And so she and I would kind of have this like fixed agreement, which is I still wild when I talk about this to people, that we'd weigh 4 stone and we'd keep it. And then I was brought up in London. And then when I got to 11, my family were like, we're going to move you to the country. We're going to put you in an all-girls school for behavior. That made me become really upset because I lost my best friend in the entire world. So therefore I kept up with the habits because it felt familiar.
Abandonment again.
Yeah, of course. But I was abandoning myself as well. So and then that became an addiction until I was 30. And so I had 22 years of that. And then healing and working through that, I was like, who am I? Because it's a huge mask, and that's what I help women with now, feeling safe in their bodies.
So the roles of masculine and feminine were not distorted, but they weren't traditional for you growing up.
Yeah.
So how does that kind of play out in your life now?
Yeah, it's interesting. So because I'm the first child as well, I'm the daughter. So naturally, like I adore my parents, no disrespect. It's been put down to me, like you be the breadwinner, you be the woman, you look after yourself, independent. Don't date men with money. I had that the other day. I was like, okay, mom. It was put on me to hold everything, to hold the responsibility for everyone's emotions as well as my own, and bring in the money.
That sounds exhausting.
It is exhausting. It still is now. It's something I'm really working through. And so that was the polarity. But also I did have, yes, my dad wasn't the breadwinner, but my dad was a gentleman. The doors were open. He'd pick me up from the airport. There'd be all these other masculine like traits that were shown to me. And I do have a good relationship with men. I think for me, it's more women friendships than it is with men.
Well, if your mother was not there when you needed her as a baby, and this is not any judgment or criticism, this is just kind of what happens with life. I think a lot of people struggle without being able to talk about this, is that women aren't safe. So if women aren't safe, men are. And then the achievement comes in with, I have to perform for love, for mom. Add that in, I'm performing for love and only safe with the masculine. I'm performing for the masculine and I'm not safe with the feminine.
Exactly.
So how do you shift that?
How do you shift that, baby? Through a lot of work. And a lot of this is what I work with now. It's like, actually what is safe rather than survival mode. Survival mode isn't safe. So pick the thriving options rather than the surviving options. And it's like now turning left instead of right. But it's really sitting with it and being like, is this actually feel good or this doesn't? Is this my conditioning to be this survival hustler, open brackets, close brackets person? Or is this just going to dysregulate me and throw me off again?
Yeah, and it's definitely that road of consciousness, right? Like when we are consciously choosing what's in the best alignment for us, like things feel just like easy. When things start to get hard and there's a lot of resistance, it's almost because we are acting in a way that's out of alignment, but we can't see that. And I think a lot of people in today's world are stuck living in a fear lens because they've actually never had safety in their body, which is where energy work comes in, right? When you do the energy work and you release these pains from the body, like the Kundalini training that we've done, you can then come into a regulated place of safety. And some people have never felt that before.
No.
Their whole life has been avoiding no's, hypervigilant, anxious, depressed, rather than chasing the yes. So at this point now, if you're not surviving, what does thriving look like?
Yeah, exactly.
And what does that look like for you now?
Thriving for me. So when I left the UK at 29, I moved to Australia, and that became thriving for me. The wellness, the early mornings, the beach walks. I got a very easy job at the time. I worked 4 hours a day. My manager won't care if I say that. And at the time I was thriving, but that felt weird for a while.
Most uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable.
And what do I do with my other hours in the day?
What do I do with my other hours? And I technically should have built a bonus business, but that's okay. But that's when I healed my eating disorder. I went deep in the healing space and really realized why I do that and the mask that I wear. And then for me, it would be the whole reactions from everyone around, right? The family stuff of, you work 4 hours a day, it was in sales, and you make that much, make the most of it while it lasts, all the money stuff. And then naturally, I self-sabotage it.
But did you actually self-sabotage?
Yes.
Okay, yes, but the outcome. So you self-sabotage. Tell me more about that.
So it was a time when it was borders just lifted. So the borders were shut for a long period of time in Australia. Lockdown was, I actually loved it in Australia because I was by the beach, I was chilling, I had the best time. And then it lifted, and one of the only options we could go to was Bali. And I was like, get me into Bali. And I got to Bali, and my manager at the time was like, you can work anywhere you want. And I was like, yeah, woo. And then he was like, you can't, you have to come back into the office. And I was like, I've been feral for 2 years, no shoes, running around Bondi in a bikini. What? An office? Like, who? So I was like, no, I'm not coming back. And then I sent my laptop back, and it just sent me in a whole thing.
How is that self-sabotage?
Because I had that stability that I think I did need when I was building a business on the side and in a new country. Like, I believe that was what I needed. And there is still part of me now that's like, that was a really easy job that I got away with a lot of things that could have been the dream for building. I think I'm in the thick of it right now. That's probably why I'm thinking like that.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. Well, so when I moved to Bali, I was feral too, no shoes. Like, I love the word feral. Like, that is totally what it is like here. Literally surf hair, no shoes, sandy toes.
Yes,
like,
smelly.
now you want me to come back into the office? Because the same thing happened to me. And I'm like, and I was like, what do you mean you want me to come back into the office? And it was a decision of moving back to Boston or staying.
Yeah.
And I lost my corporate job too. And then I could say like, yeah, sure, I sabotaged that. But when I lost that corporate job, everything else opened up. You know? So for me, when I lost it, I was high up in a pharmaceutical company. And when I lost all of it, it was like, what am I going to do for money?
Yes.
And then I did go into survival mode a little bit. And then I started to self-sabotage in my business. But once I went all in, I think I spent my last $2,000 on the healing house that you came into.
No way.
And then I had a 40K month in March.
Wow.
So it will shift like that. But it will shift.
Yeah.
But it's like, I wouldn't look at it at the lens of self-sabotaging if you chose your soul over being shackled in an office.
I have chills. My right hand's going wild, which is my finger hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because imagine if you sold, like, I think this is what people fail to see. Our soul is the most important possession that you own.
Yes.
It's not the money. You think it is. Money is just energy currency. And if you sell your soul down the river, I'm telling you right now, you would have lost all your money in some other way.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
You
but
know?
I've been in those patterns before of quitting corporate, going back. And I've been in sales. So I know how that works like this, up and down, feast and famine. Feast and famine,
or just high pull, low pull, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like going into the extreme. But when I think you follow your soul's alignment, have you ever really not been safe with money? Has there ever been a moment where you actually were in scarcity, where it was actually scary, you weren't going to be able to eat and you had nowhere to live? No. Right? Like, it really hasn't gotten to that. Yet we've created this, I'm not safe. Oh my God, what am I going to do? You fucking live in Bali, for Christ's sake.
I know, we live in nice places. But also, it's the pressure from the parents, because they are from that generation. Like, I had the other day, my dad, your age, Lucy, we had a 10-year pension plan and a house. And I was like,
okay, cool. And then you die and you don't get your pension.
Yeah. Literally,
okay, I was 65 years old, no pension and no life.
That's what I was like, cool, Dad. I'm currently in my villa with a pool.
Right?
Like, healing people, that's great, but I'm not, you supporting me? No, I'm supporting myself. Like, great, cool. And then I got a 10-minute preaching thing. But I think what it is I'm in a transitional point, right? They've seen me in sales, corporate world for 15 years, and they've seen me as what they think is happy, even though they know that's not for me. Now they know it's not for me. So I think, and once things like become, where I'm like not living off my savings and things, I think then they'll get it. My mom's starting to get it now, because she sees I'm doing things about investments, I'm learning about trading and things like that, and she's seeing that and she's like, wow, okay, because no one in my family has really followed the entrepreneurial journey. No one's really followed their dreams. And I'm obviously the pattern breaker, as I'm sure you are as well. And so it's very, as you know, intimidating for the rest of the family, traditional British family, picket fence, children went to all girls schools. She's in Bali.
But I think what's really interesting, though, is like, if you think about you when you were in sales, right? Like, to your parents, like, that was like the penthouse for them.
Yeah.
That's all that they could, like, you're killing it in your career. But what about all the other areas of life?
No.
Was intimacy great? Was friendship great?
No.
Was your mental health great? Was your emotional health great?
No.
Was your relationship with God great?
No. And they know that now as well, because them was very vocal about it. And I was in therapy from 14 to 27 in the UK. So they were very aware of what was going on. I mean, I was tiny. Like, I know I'm tiny now, but I was like tiny. And so I would lie to my therapist each week because it was my safety. It was my mask. It was my way of like keeping myself safe. But obviously it wasn't. So they knew how miserable I was. And they knew I was going down a track that wasn't healthy as well. You know, I had the big lips. I had the Love Island face. I had, you know, all the fake boobs. And I had all of this like approach to everything. But my boobs are real, by the way. I don't know why I said fake boobs. But I had like the blonde bombshell kind of look, which I still have now, but like maxed. You know?
Yeah.
Like big. And so I wasn't going down a healthy way because I would drink 6 or 7 nights a week. I was in sales. So, you know, you close a deal, you got a bottle of Prosecco at 11 a.m. That was normal. And then you get flown to Dubai, you'd get flown to Barbados. I'm not complaining, those were great. But that became life between 26 onwards. And I did really well. I remember being sat down by a financial advisor being like, we need to talk to you about how you can now manage your money because your wealth has increased so much. And I remember being like, what? Like, I'm going to Ibiza next week. I don't care. Like, it was just like, it was a child basically being given 20 to 30 grand a month and being told, you know, like, don't worry, babe, you go have a fun time, but let's talk about your pension. Like, I was like, my what? Like, I don't care. And then I got to a point where my eating sort of got so bad. Like, I'd make myself sick after every meal. I was just so dehydrated. Weirdly, my hair was healthy, but inside I hadn't had periods for 7 years. My boyfriend at the time obviously wasn't the most healthiest relationship. He had an alcohol problem, of course, because addiction attracts addiction. And I remember being 27 and I was about to buy my first house with my financial advisor. And I remember at this drinking dinner, and it was lunchtime actually, we were all drunk. And I remember being on the phone to my mom about to transfer the cash for this London house and being like, no. I look at my managers and some of them are friends now and they are amazing humans, but I don't want to be where they are. And so I was like, I'm not going to do any of this. I'm going to go to Australia. And I remember just like, yeah, you can imagine the reaction of like, oh, darling, you're going where? And I'm like, I'm going to, this is just fucked up.
You just knew.
I just knew. And I was like, this is so messed up. Broke up with my boyfriend at the time of 4 years, quit my sales job. But it was like, I was like, I'm going to die. I'm actually going to die.
Were you wicked burnt out?
Beyond burnt out. I wasn't a woman. I was a man in a woman's body, but I was also attracting men that just wanted to fuck me. You know, it was that energy, and it was breadcrumbs everywhere from guys. And no disrespect, but that was also the energy I was giving off. Right? I was transient. It was when someone gets rid of you easily.
Transactional.
Thank you, babe. I was like transactional because I allowed myself to be that, and that's how I saw myself. I saw myself as a sales product.
Yeah, and then you play that role, right? And I think it's like the program. It's like to everyone else in the world. I remember when I was making all the money, like, and again, I've never made crazy money, but you know, 250 grand a year with a bonus, it's a lot of money.
Similar.
It's a lot of money. Now, when I lost that job, you want to know how much money I had to save for myself? Zero. I had nothing in savings. Thank God when they fired me, they gave me a 1 month severance. I remember looking at my partner going, yeah, no, I've just been same thing. Yeah, no, but I've gone to Portugal and Ibiza and Monaco and like, because to me, it never was about the big house. It wasn't about that. It was about living.
Yes.
That money gave me freedom.
It
wasn't stability. It was freedom.
Yeah.
And I think that that's when you need to look at like the intention behind receiving the money. Like my parents would be like, why didn't you do anything with that money? I'm like, because I didn't want stability.
Yeah.
I wanted freedom. I wanted to get the fuck out of where I was.
Yes.
And I felt really guilty saying that. And I remember when I tried to go back to Boston and live there, and I was like, I remember every night I'd sit in the bathtub being like, I feel horrible that I hate this so much. But I was like dying on the inside because it never was the life I wanted to live. I totally get what you mean. And I think when you were at that place, it's like you were at the penthouse. And then you're like, but this isn't it. And then all of a sudden you have this opportunity to kind of go on this spiritual journey. And now the spiritual journey is like, like we're nowhere close to the penthouse. And I think that can feel a little daunting when you switch from the career world where you've pretty much maxed what you can get out of it. Like, sure, you could have made a little bit more money, but what was that going to give me? A few more trips to Ibiza, a few more tables? Like,
I'll be a manager.
A couple more handbags, a couple more pairs of shoes. Like,
boys.
Exactly. It wasn't doing it. And then you come to the spiritual world, and that's like, it's kind of a scary, daunting journey where there's people like, there's so many ways to go in this world.
Yes.
And it's very glamorized, but it's really actually it's more about unattaching than anything. Like living your spiritual path and going in alignment with your soul. It's like unattaching from the money in the shoes, in the idea of what you thought you had to be and just becoming what your soul is like enjoying.
Yes.
And then pleasure is something that we aren't taught.
No.
So I know you talk a lot with women about pleasure. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think we're taught to do what we love as kids.
No, we're not.
We're taught to perform, achieve.
Yeah, go. Be the doer, not the beer.
Not the beer. And being is so hard. I remember when somebody was like, you need to be more. And I was like, how do you do that?
Yeah, I'm a doer, not a beer. But how does the doer be a beer, you know?
How do you do it? How do you do the being? And then Kundalini energy was kind of what showed me the path of surrender. It was like, wow, I can just be.
Yes.
And then that's terrifying.
But it is, and that's when the magic comes in.
Exactly. When you be and you trust that it's all working out and everything's perfect. Really a weird world we've created where being is like, heaven forbid I want to take a nap.
Oh my God, on a Tuesday afternoon, who are you?
Right?
How fucking day.
That is so crazy that you would want to take it. And I feel guilty. Or if the sun is out and I want to take a nap, then I feel even guiltier. Do you have sun shame?
Yes, I haven't been out in the sun properly, but earlier I was like, I'm going to take my laptop and I'm going to sunbathe while I'm on my laptop. And I was like, no.
Just go sit in the sun.
Babe, what are you doing?
I know. It's just...
Yeah, and I stopped myself.
But it's really hard to trust that the universe is going to provide, but it does. It just does.
It just does. Yeah.
When you get out of the fucking way.
You get out of the way. And I think like, and this is the main people that I work with is like influencers, female leaders like us. Like what? How? What? We don't learn to trust that. So to hear that is like, are you on crack? Like, what are you talking about?
I get to take my foot off the gas.
Yeah.
And you're like, and I can just sit there and I can just be.
And I can't book all these things and take off my list again, but wonder why I'm burnt out by Thursday.
Yeah.
And I'm dating men that I'm the man.
Constantly?
Yeah.
Are you still?
No.
Tell me more.
No, it's really so, oh my God. So what shifted for me, there was a couple of guys in Bali that I was dating, not at the same time. I'm not really one of those people, but I always meet guys in real life. I'm not an app girl. And I had a bit of a pattern of dating single dads. And that
Been there.
We've all been there. And at the time I was like, oh, maybe it's because, I want to be a mom and I love kids. I love animals. Like the more the better. But actually the reality was that they have other commitments. So I'm never going to be number one. So I can hide behind that. That's easy, right? So I said...
So then if they don't choose you, it's not because of you, it's because of their child.
Yeah, exactly. And it's easier to hide behind...
Abandonment again.
But also abandoning myself if they didn't want any more kids, because I would love to have my own family with the right guy. That's abandoning one of my dreams. So we went through that whole journey, and then naturally those guys disappeared. And then everything went quiet for 4 months. Like, quiet. It was the weirdest thing when I came out of the container, like... It was, I don't know, I felt like I was like, am I a monster? Like it was really weird. Like any man disappeared. Even my male friends disappeared for 4 months. And I needed that time to really work out what I want and to be pretty ballsy about things. So yeah, so now I'm back in the dating game. And that's as far as I'm going to share online.
But dating from a different place.
Yeah, dating from like claiming what I want, but not as in like, I want this, and this, but being like, when naturally on like your first and second date, they'll be like, so, what are your dreams? Where do you want to go? And I say it how it is. Whereas before I'd be like, oh, I don't mind. Maybe I'll do this, and this. I'm like, no, this is what I'm going to do with my life.
You're a little bit more embodied.
Oh, I'm way more embodied. But the fascinating thing is when I came out of the container, when I was integrating, I didn't feel safe in this new frequency. And I think that also men would be like really curious by me, but they'd also be like, not quite sure what's going on here. And then something about it, when I got to Australia and I came back, men were just coming in from everywhere. And I think I needed to go to Sydney to actually reintegrate officially, almost in my home, to come back to.
Well, you had to go to safety.
I had to go to safety.
And there's something that like really I need to hit home with like everyone watching this. If you're not safe, nothing can happen.
Yeah.
It's all about safety. It is safety, 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 peace in the nervous system. If your environment is the place that's traumatized you, you cannot heal there, right? We need to go to the place that provides us with the most anchor and the safety. So it sounds to me like you came out of a very expansive experience and the nervous system just needed something to hold on to. And when you came into Bali, you were faced with all the triggers of the women and the roommates and all those things. And it's like, okay, cool. I can either face these things head on or I can run and retreat. And we can't get mad at ourselves when we retreat. No. The nervous system is an automatic thing. We can't just bypass it. No. I'm not safe. I got to go.
Yeah.
So you went into flight.
Yeah.
And that's totally okay. Is that kind of what your nervous system did in the past as well? Are you more of a flighter or a fighter?
I'm actually more of a freezer.
Ah, well, that looks like you're stepping up into frequency, because
Yeah.
from going from freezing to fleeing is powerful. How cool is that?
I didn't realize that.
So the woman that you've been working with since coming out of the Kundalini training, what are they like?
They are very much like the go-getters, the hustlers. I hate that word. But, you know, the ones that either have their own business or they're very high up in the corporate world, and they are so unfulfilled because they're A, really burnt out, and B, they're like, I've done everything. I don't understand. Like, I've done all the mindset work. They're heady. I call it heady. They're really in their head. And they're kind of like, I don't want to say breaking point because I don't think that's the right word, but they're at the point where they're like, what the fuck is personal development? Like, this just isn't doing anything for me. There's that mentality being broken as well, which is quite common in my clients. And often they have eating disorders, right? Or they have a lot of body shame, a lot of sexual shame. So we do a lot of womb healing, whether that's their own trauma or through generational, as we know that happens in our cells. So it's like a mix of all those things. But yeah, it's always things that I've been through.
Yeah, wild, isn't it?
It's wild. Even when you don't realize until they share like 3 or 4 sessions in as well, and you're like,
oh. You're a mini me.
Yeah, literally.
And that's how you know you're in alignment too, because if it's something you've been through, then if not you, then who? To help them, right?
Yes.
Like, I think that's the journey here, is that like we're always, you know, walking each other home, but there's always somebody a couple steps ahead and a couple steps behind. And if we can just attract the perfect people that are on similar journeys to us, and then we share our medicine, which is essentially how we healed ourselves.
Yeah.
So how did you heal your nervous system and your body shame? What was the path for that?
Yeah, so like I said, I was in therapy from 14 to 27 years, and therapy was good. I never want to slate that off, but I didn't know anything about the body, you know? So I was very in my head, chatting my way out of it, saying I was fine, even though everyone knew I wasn't. And then coming into this place where I moved to Australia, thank God to this friend, I will never forget Emma. Shout out to Emma Waterlow. She was training to be a nutritionist, and I gone to Australia, and I was like, oh my God, my eating disorders come with me. Like, how dare it fucking get on a plane with me and come overseas with me? I thought I would have left London, all my problems would be in London. And now I was like, I'm in Sydney with the same shit, but without a job in the pandemic. So I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm really fucking done. And I was, but I wasn't. Until this friend was training to be a nutritionist, and she said, as part of being this program, I need to go really deep and do your bloods. And I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to start telling these new friends of mine, I feel safe here, what's actually going on with me, because I didn't tell anyone really. It was like my big secret. My parents knew, but like everyone was just over it. They were like, we don't know how she's going to get better. We're just going to have to let her hit rock bottom. And so I got to I got to Australia, and I was just open with it. People, I was like, yeah, I've had this for years, but I'm working through it. But it came across probably not in like the best way, but when you're new to sharing these things, you just gotta be the chick out of the egg, figure it out, right? And so she was really intrigued by me, because she was like, oh my God, amazing. I've never worked with anyone with eating disorders before. And I was like, great. So I went and got my bloods done, and I knew in my gut something was gonna not be good. Like, I trained all the time, you know, I looked kind of healthy now. Like, I knew this was gonna be not nice. Anyway, I get a call from the doctors. I'm 29. I'd come off the pill, cold turkey, and I got told I was going into the perimenopause. And I was told that I probably wouldn't be able to have children. And I remember that moment being like, Lucy, sort your shit out. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And so then I went on this journey of like looking at everything. The first thing that came to me was an energy healer. And my housemate at the time was like very in tune, beautiful soul. We were in the lockdown, and she was like, babe, I don't know why, but this new guy's moving into our apartment. He does something like energy. Because this was like 2020, right? It was still like, it wasn't as well known as it is now. Something energy, but I said, maybe you might be able to help you out. But he wants to have a phone call with you. Even though he's in Bondi, he wants to have a call with you. I was like, oh, well, at the time I was like, cool, I'm just saying yes to anything healing. I was like the dream. I was like, I'm spending all the cash. And so I got on this call with him, and we worked out it was the abandonment issues through my mom, which then allowed me to abandon myself through eating disorders, and then had been unsafe to produce children in my womb. And it was a half an hour call. We spoke about it, and he did some energy work. I don't know. There was no camera, nothing. I came on my period the next day. after 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at the time I was like, no. That's a coincidence. Do you know what I mean? I brushed it off. And then it just kept following me, like following, and it was louder and louder and louder. And that's how I ended up in the space.
It's so wild.
It's wild.
And the womb is
Of
literally
course.
our creative portal. And if
Yeah.
it's distorted,
Mm-hmm.
and it's literally what's creating our existence.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's carrying heavy, dark energy and pain and karma, that's just what our life is going to be. It's just wild what we can shift through.
Yeah, and the healing thing for me was that was a guy as well. You know?
Well, you trusted men more.
I trusted men more, but it was confusing because like we're going through my womb with a guy on the phone. Like, what is this?
Was he a womb healer?
No.
Okay, good, because
No,
that's too much for me.
We are going down a rabbit hole. No. He was like a man, but
Okay.
he had no intention of doing that. It just I don't know what he did. It was on the phone, no video, like I said, but he just worked out what it was.
Did you ever work with him again?
Well, he then moved into my apartment, but we didn't work. We became friends, but we never worked together again because there was that kind of like, now we're in the same apartment thing. But he knew, I told him, I was like, oh my God. He was like, of course.
It's so cool. It's really amazing the perfect people show up like right when we need them, if we can
100%.
just trust the process.
Yeah. And there's just the random comment of my housemate who, bless her soul, was oblivious. Babe, I think you should have a call with him, Like, it's just, it's wild.
And so now with women, what do you think your goal is with helping them with healing?
Their wombs. It's so fascinating because with clients, they'll be like, yeah, babe, I'm ready to go all in. I'm ready to go all in. But their body's like, fuck no, babe, you step back. Like, I am not ready. And so it takes a lot of time to ground a lot of the women I work with first to feel safe, which we can be 3 or 4 or 5 sessions, no shame at all. And then we can bring in it. So for me, the goal is always safety first. Ironically, obviously integration. I learned that the hard way in many healing modalities that I've done. I believe that's a big part of my mission in this world. And for women to feel safe as women. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really funny because whenever I work with women on their wombs, a lot of the time that's woo-woo, right? Like for a corporate leader, that's a bit like, so sometimes I don't really go into it, but then the next day they'll be like, this amount of cash came in, or this guy, really good guy came into my life. What? And I'm like, well, babe, we worked on your womb for like the last 2 hours. And they're like, yeah, cool. Okay, whatever. But anyway, and I'm like, but it will keep coming up. It will keep coming up. So I've gone on a tangent, but that's always the goal, the safety. I never want anyone to feel as unsafe as I felt.
Exactly. We become the person that we needed in our darkest hour.
Yes.
And I think when we carry, did you know we carry 7 generations of trauma in the womb? Yeah.
Well, but I remember we did that womb clearing, you and I, and then I think that's when everything went silent for 4 months.
Yeah. Well, I said, be careful. I said, we're now a virgin.
We were definitely a virgin.
Yeah. And it's just different. We clear the energy and it really shifts. And the energy has created everything. It's we are so much more than what we think we are. Like, and our life is just a mirror of what the inner reality is, which is energy.
Yes.
And we have to change the energy. And I think what is different, and this is what I want to talk to you about, like working with women and working with men is very different. Yeah. With men, I can work with them up until their inner child is integrated. But when it comes to doing men's work, I get the fuck out of the way. Yeah. I cannot hold a man in masculinity. That is not my MO. So any men out there, there's amazing men's coaches. Come and see me for inner child trauma for sure, and I will point you in the right direction. But I love to work with women because with women, we have a womb that carries 7 generations of pain, and a yoni that carries even deeper pain.
Jesus.
So once I started doing that yoni work and seeing the depth of the trauma that we hold in there, and we wonder why we're creating, if you cannot orgasm, if you cannot receive pleasure, and you wonder why your life is shit, it's a mirror. Yeah. It's like, so pleasure 100%. Should be the feminine. The feminine is pleasure. I want, I receive.
A desire.
Yeah. I can't wait to do it. Yeah. And if it's not that energy, your womb and your yoni is fucked and you need healing. That's just my MO.
People listening to this like, shit.
Yeah. I'm numb. I'm like, yeah, no shit. You wonder why your life is fucking terrible?
Dry.
It's
dry. Everything's dry. They're fucking dry.
It's literally, I actually believe our yoni is our brain.
I totally agree.
The feminine brain is the yoni.
This is why I do yoni painting when I'm trying to wind down. Because I'm like, how is my brain actually feeling? And my villa is full of these yoni paintings.
I forgot you do yoni painting.
I do yoni, and I forgot about it. And then I did it with a client actually the day. She was like, babe, why aren't we doing this before our sessions? I was like, well, I do this as a hobby.
So funny. Ever since I started doing the yoni mapping, I can't believe what we carry for pain in women. I mean, like the amount of pressure that I put on the inside and they feel nothing. It's like it's just wild to me that we're walking around in so much pain. I think the feminine is in so much pain because of just what we've been put through over the years and the suppression. And I think that's why with like masculine, feminine energetics, there's no wonder to me now that the women have become men.
Of course.
Because
with tits.
with tits, you know, really pretty.
Yeah.
Because we're not safe to receive anymore.
No. But also for the man as well, like they've become demasculated.
We've emasculated them.
We've emasculated them.
That's
like
the
we
problem.
have to take some responsibility here, you know? Like we've kind of done that.
Because it's always in balance. So we've been so unsafe that we've become men with tits that are pretty. And then we wonder why the man is like it's like a little bitch.
Yes.
And I'm their mom.
Yeah, or they're flowy Joey. Yeah, babe, I might pick you up at 7 or maybe 9. No. What?
Flowy Joey. I love that.
Flowy Joey.
If you say 7, be there at 6:55.
Yeah.
On
and
time is
wait for 5 minutes then.
Yeah, on time is late and early is on time. Thank you.
Exactly.
Like that's the masculine energy.
Yes.
I'm prepared and I know where I'm going. Like how do we become a woman entrepreneur but also be in our feminine energy of pleasure?
Yeah.
I guess it's doing what you love, like making your business be something you love rather than being a boss babe in the corporate ladder to perform maybe.
Yeah, but I also think it's doing things like actually creating structure to flow.
Tell me more. I love that.
So like Fridays is a bit like, this is very Bali, but it's like a Venus day. So that's like my flowy day. That's my day where I am replying to any clients, all of my contracts. That's my flowy day. I wake up when I wake up. Actually, I wake up naturally anyway. But like I'll go to a class when I want to go to a class. I'll get a matcha when I want. Like it's my scheduled flowy day. And I know that's a mix, right? I've given myself that structure to flow. So I'm giving myself this time and I work on Sundays. So I know like for me, Fridays and Saturdays is my flowy days. You can flow in if you want. If you're going to be a man, you can pick me up at 7. That's your decision. Yes, please. But I'll flow the rest of the day. And that really satisfies that part of me because one thing when I came out of my eating disorder is I was so in the feminine. I was just chilling the whole time. And I had a boyfriend at the time that loved how feminine I was. But it didn't last.
And you got nothing done. That's the other thing. Like hyper feminine gets nothing done. It's that it's too it's like too airy fairy.
Too airy fairy.
Like la la la. I can't stand that.
I can't.
You know, it's like I love that you said build a structure to allow yourself to flow because then you have safety.
Yes.
You know, there's safety. Like, you know, okay, these are my non-negotiables of the week, but on the other times I'm going to create space to just be and do what I feels good.
And no immediate responses, no immediate replies. Like no one's died, you know, like leave me on my own. And my closest friends know that, you know, they're like, okay, babe. And if they don't understand, then thank you, goodbye.
Yeah, and I love about using the calendar to do that. My flowy day is Thursdays and Sundays. But I had to learn the hard way because otherwise my calendar was and still sometimes can be back to back to back to back to back. And that is very masculine. Yeah. What are some other ways you keep your masculine, feminine balanced?
I follow my cycle a lot. Like, so the blessing is when I got my periods back, I became kind of obsessed with them. I was like, I will never want to lose them ever again. Like, I want to really look after my womb, ironically. But at the time, it hadn't really shown up what my work and the purpose was in this world. But I became really fascinated. So things like fasting, following foods, like being and learning what my body wants and listening, which was fucking terrifying, right? Not heard from her for 22 years. And then getting all hormones and personalities and parts coming alive and like, you know, extreme things. Now I use that a lot to follow my cycle with my business as well. Easier said than done sometimes. Obviously some things have to get done when you don't really want them to, but I very much follow my cycle now.
Tell me more about that. So for those that are watching and don't understand that they have a cycle, first of all, you guys, men, I talked about this in my last episode, men's hormones turn over every day. Yeah. Ours do not. We are on a 28 to 32 day cycle, depending on your cycle. And there are 4 phases, and they very much change scientifically. Like this is a biological thing. This isn't woo-woo.
No, it's
We
legit.
don't just feel crazy. We actually have hormones making us feel a certain way, and we have to support our system so that we can feel safe to flow in that. So tell me what you do during your cycle phases.
Yeah, so for me, the last week before my period, I'm sleepy, I'm tired, like just massage me. Like I often love, like if I'm dating a guy, then like you do a little bit more for me then. Like you sort things out for me, like acts of service, like all those things. But then from literally like day one, I'm glowing. So the first day of my period, I'm like, the energy's here. I'm like, and so that's always the time for me where I'll start new projects in my business, or I'll hold space for clients that I know like need that extra love and care as well. And then during ovulation, I'm just so fucking horny. Like, I mean, it's got way stronger now with obviously all this energy work, that sometimes I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do apart from the obvious.
Yeah, self-pleasure.
So that's literally it. It's like a lot of self-pleasure, and it's like doors shut, no one talk to me, I am busy. And don't fucking try. Unless there's a sexy man around, and then the guy's living his best life. So that's very much like in a nutshell how I time it. And then I find also like the first half of my cycle, so when I'm on my period and when I'm ovulating, I'm way more productive earlier in the day. So I can wake up ready, I'll get a lot of work done in the mornings, I'll train. And then the second half, things are going to get done in the afternoon and the evenings.
That's more luteal phase?
Luteal phase, yeah.
Yeah, and that's, you know what's crazy how long that phase is?
It feels like fucking ages.
It's the longest phase. Like, why is it so long? Why do we have to have the longest fall of all time?
Honestly, I don't know.
You know, ovulation, it's like 2 days. Like, thanks
Yeah.
for the sex drive for 48 hours, asshole. Can I at least have it a week?
Yeah, and you're like,
It's literally 2 days.
life is amazing.
Yeah.
I love everything. Then 3 days later, you're like, oh my God. Put your dick away.
So I think this is an amazing segue into how do we have a career and follow our cycle
Oh, yeah.
when you're working for someone else?
Yes. And
Impossible.
well, I learned this. So I was very vocal about my whole period stuff. My manager, bless his soul, was very open at the time. And he kind of knew what was going on, but didn't. And I was like, look, I had a really inspiring woman in my team. And she actually put in her calendar when she was on her period, and all the team could see it. Right? And I thought, holy shit balls, like that's crazy. But she would be very like, to our boss, I'm not going to answer calls on these 3 days. I'll do my admin. I'll do all my other work, but I'm on my period. And he'd be like, okay. He had a team of mainly women, and he'd be like, okay, I love this. I'll let you all to it. I'm not sure. But then he'd start to know our cycles. This is like a masculine straight man, one of my favorite managers still to this day. But he would see how it would help us, because he'd see our sales like do so well throughout the other times of the month. And naturally, all of us were working from home. So we weren't synced up. We weren't in the office, because obviously lots of women sync up if they're in close proximity to each other. So he had some, and obviously he had them all over the show. So he would see that, and he'd be like, do what you got to do. So that was really inspiring for me, because I became very like communicative about that. And I think the blessing was that it was in sales, right? You can see if someone's doing well or not.
Right.
And so he would know.
So how do you now, as an entrepreneur, do you set up your schedule based on your cycle as well? Or how do you use that now?
So when I have my one-on-one clients, we have integration week, which is a week off. Basically, I'm still online. We can still contact. We can still go through embodiment practices through WhatsApp and things like that. But I'm not holding space physically.
You take a whole week of not holding space.
But I work on Sundays in person. But at the moment, yeah, I don't see clients.
And you hold that boundary.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I struggle with that a little. I struggle with it's very hard running my own business to come out of the masculine.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like I feel like there's no one to hold the fort down.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild how quickly I burn out.
Oh, I'm the same.
So I've started to really, I love how you said, not scheduling for a week. Like I've started, if I do a weekend intensive, I no longer hold space on the Friday before and the Monday after.
Oh, yeah, babe.
And that's like not even enough time, honestly.
No, it's not. That's not.
I'm booked out through August. It's unbelievable when you look at, I've built this business that I'm so proud of. I just had a 40K month, and it's like wild. But then I'm like, is this really what I want?
Yes, I've really looked at this the last month and been like, this is meant to be a baby, but also that funds me. I want to be a mother, and I want my kids to see me being there for them, but also being an independent businesswoman. And that's not right now. Holy shit balls.
There's no way.
There's no fucking way.
Right.
Like mom is not going to be there.
And I'm exactly. That's kind of, and then it's
Yeah.
like, then you can kind of have some compassion for your mom.
Of course.
You know, because you're like, how it is so hard. Like, I've been scheduling more time to be in between, like you said. But again, it's very challenging. And I don't know if I've really found, I'd be interested to see if women have figured out how to be an entrepreneur and not work 60, 80 hours a week. Because that's what I'm working. Like, if I put my hours in, it's like 60 to 80 a week.
Yeah. And then also switching off. Like, when do we switch off? Like, no.
And it's affected my relationship a lot. Not like, you know, we're good, but I'm in such hustle mode. And again, it's like all of a sudden I've caught myself and I'm the same person I was in corporate America now with my own business.
I was just thinking this last night when I was on my date. I was like, I couldn't relax. And then I did, and I was way like fine. Like, it was great. But at first I was like really tense, being like, shit, I haven't finished the landing page. And he was like, babe, slow down, like, calm. I was like, okay, thank you.
But it's hard when we're wired and we're programmed to have it have to be so fast. And I kind of look at, like, I started laughing the other day. I was like, what is this manic energy that's created this bit? It's manic.
It's chaotic.
Chaos.
Fucking chaos.
And then I've created all these systems to help me, and then I don't follow my own system.
Yeah, I was fixing a system this morning. I was literally like, I was like, babe, I've got to go. I've got to fix a system. And he's like, but you have a system. I'm like, no, but it's not working.
It's not working.
He's like, well, pay someone. And I'm like, it's 7 a.m.
And I'll be like, literally, I'll be cuddled up in Andre's arms at the end of the night, and I'll be like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted. And he's like, why'd you schedule so many things in your day? And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Because it's like, and now that I know, like, I'm the creator of all of this.
Course.
So I guess for women entrepreneurs out there trying to do their spiritual work and build a business and be a partner, like,
fun.
I fucking feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you with the pain of that.
Yeah.
And I think what I've started to see is, like, I'm not having fun anymore with it. It became work.
Yes.
Quick.
Which is wild, because we left the corporate world for the exact same reason. We've just rebuilt it in a different way with yonis. Like, we have, it's a yoni in a suit. Like, I know. I was thinking, and I know I'm gonna make some changes. Like, I know, like, for me, I'm with my one-on-one clients, it's women that really are ready. You know, and I'm not mis-shaming or anyone, but like, it's so important for me as much as it is for them, like, to really show up together. And then group programs, you know, and having integration, and only having 1 or 2 group sessions in person a week. I mean, I'm still figuring it out, but I'm learning, like, how I can serve people as best for them as much as the non-burnt out healer.
Exactly, because it becomes another savior complex thing of trying to save my inner child again, because not everyone is ready to step up in the way of their spiritual work. And I got to tell you, like, this whole thing has exposed more layers of my inner child's performance achievement bullshit. And I'm like, fuck, my 8-year-old's driving my life again.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
With a lens of spirituality and a healer. And I'm like, here I am again. I'm 8 years old. Oh my God, trying to do 400 puzzles at one time to prove my worth to my dad. Fuck, and there I am again. But now I'm a healer, and now it's okay. Like, no, it's not okay.
No, it's not okay. And
it's not okay that I literally lay down in the middle of the night and I can't shut off, and I have all these things in my head, and I've got 900 emails and all of these things, and I can't be present with my partner. And I'm like, holy shit, now the one thing I wanted more than anything in the world was this relationship, which I'm putting on the back burner of this fucking business. And that's where I really feel like this masculine, feminine, energetic stuff, it's like, I haven't found a way to do both yet.
No, I'm similar. I just think if you can get structures and working systems, you can start to have that. But I think it comes with time.
Yeah.
But I also have learned, though, I think it's asking for help more. Because I'm normally, and you know this, I'm normally, yeah, babe, I'm amazing. And you're like, you're not, you're fucking not. I'm like, I know, no. Like, it's learning now to be like, hey, like, can you help me?
Well, that's the UK thing. How you doing? I'm good. How are you? And like, really, you feel like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think something I've seen a lot is like asking for support, building a team. You know, I had Christy come on and help me build all my stuff out, and it's changed everything, because now there's 2 of us that are facing the problem. And I think with women, it's like, we do much better in community
100%.
and together and supported. This lone wolf mentality, that's very masculine energy.
No.
And I think we do need to, you know, I actually want to start a healing for the healers class where all healers come, and it's like we take turns holding space for one another, and it's just a sisterhood. There's no money in it. It's like sisterhood of the healers to help each other with fucking holding space, and whoever has enough energy can hold space for the people that really need to be held.
Yes.
Because I think we start to put, it's like the mother in us again. We become to mother our people, and then we put ourselves last again, and then we're healing from empty cups again. And it's like,
it's not fair.
it's this vicious cycle. And I wish, you know, I wish like men could see like how hard we're trying.
I know.
How hard we're trying to be, but we just can't be because there's no safety in the system.
No, but we're also figuring it out. Like in the healing space, it's not like a linear route. Like you might have a client one day that was great on a call, and the next day, holy shit balls, not you.
You get a paragraph this long,
everything. 5-minute voice note being like, "Hey, honey, like I know you're going for a lot, but 1 minute, you know, like I'm not saying any job's less or harder, but like it's unpredictable.
It's unpredictable
at the least, and so you have to show up no matter what.
So I have my daily non-negotiables now, and I think for anybody watching this, like I think it's really important if you're a woman entrepreneur as well as being spiritual and conscious that your morning is for you. Serve yourself first. I used to say get up and get to the gym, you know, but now it's like I get up, do my meditation.
Yes, same.
Have my juice.
Yeah.
You know, have a little flow time in the morning, then get to the gym. So I don't serve any clients now until 11 a.m.
Yeah, I'm similar.
So it's like the middle of my day is work, and then the end of my day is rest again. And that's started to serve me. But I think you're right. It really is about building structure to make sure that you can stay in balance of the doing and the being, because quite quickly we can end up burning the candle at both ends of the stick, and we just end up this giant doer again.
Yeah, that's healing everyone.
And I'm tired.
Fucking tired.
And when you're tired, you're not charging enough also.
Yeah, exactly.
You helped me with that one.
Exactly, yes. And then when people are like, how are you? Like, I'm just fucking knackered. And they're like, no one wants to be around fucking knackered all the time either.
And that's the other thing. Everyone you meet in today's world, it's like they're busy or they're exhausted.
Yeah.
It's like,
but we live in Bali. Like, come on.
I know.
What? We chose to live over here. Well, I did. I chose to live over here to have a way more chilled life. But I am hustling like a motherfucker.
And I think that's the Chengu way too, you know. We're all trying to make it. And I think if we could support each other, say like, you're enough, you're doing enough, you're safe, there's nowhere you need to go.
Exactly.
We've got each other.
And it's self-trust as well, of like actually getting the things that they need to do that day and just being like, no, tomorrow can wait. I also think it's important, like about you made earlier about the lone wolf thing, like women are slowly getting this way. Collaboration is everything. If we are feeling burnt out, personally in my experience, I will think to myself, who can I collaborate with right now? It will benefit her and it will benefit me. And that's more what I'm doing now as well, collaborating and figuring it out as I collaborate.
And it doesn't have to be so competitive as well. You know, I think that, I don't know if you felt this, like when you got out of Kundalini training but how am I going to compete with all the other facilitators?
No, I didn't feel like that, but I felt that from a lot of the women in the containers.
Yeah.
And it really triggered me because I've always worked with men and there's never been competition.
Because like, I think what people need to see with healing is like you said, your clients are going to be little mini yous.
Yeah.
You know, and there's billions of people on this planet
All
that
over
need
the
healing.
world.
There's plenty of people that need healing.
A lot of people.
And just because you do Kundalini, every Kundalini facilitator is going to be different. We hold a different frequency.
Exactly.
We hold different pain, different trauma. So there's enough to go around.
And our magic, like the psychic gifts, the intuition, the Reiki, the womb clearing, like it's not one person is not the same as another, even if you've done Kundalini.
Exactly. So it's like trust and discern and go to a person that feels in resonance with you. And that's enough. And as facilitators, we don't have to shame. I always say, like, come to my class. If it feels good, if you felt safe to surrender, amazing. I'd love to work with you. But if not, you know, try a different facilitator. It's not the energy. It's typically the facilitator. You know, find a facilitator that's in aligned with where you're at and in resonance with what you've been through and can understand and get you. And
if at any moment it feels off, I can say this, even if anyone feels like that with me, like just go. I encourage that. Like if you don't, I've not had this, but if you don't feel safe, please, like, I will refer you to Chelsea or, you know, happily.
Exactly. It's like just there's so many.
Or breath work, you know, maybe this isn't the right energy. This isn't maybe the right time for you. Like I sometimes refer more people, I think, to other people than I do myself because I'm almost like, well then, you know, like it's important. It's so important. I've heard so many stories that I don't want to fearmonger people, but I've just heard stories where it's not worth it.
No, definitely
You've got to
not.
trust the safety piece.
So what's next for Lucy in this world, and how can you continue to serve the community? And for people
Oh my
watching, how can
God.
they find you?
So I have my podcast, Working Under Pleasure, which has been going for 3 years now. So that's about sex, love, and relationships, so feeling safe in the body to receive love. And as we know, love and money go hand in hand, security. So you can check out my podcast, Working Under Pleasure. And then I've got my new group program launching on the 10th of June, the Liberation Lab, which is for women, literally what we've talked about. So the high achievers, the type A's, the ones that the go-getters, where they've done all the what they call work, but it's just not flowing because the body, which we haven't spoken about, but I'm sure you have before, stores 80% of the trauma. We've not done any internal work, and there's no shame or to anything, but we're going through a combination of shadow work, and then I'm doing energy work. So it's a 6 to 8 week program. It's actually 2 weeks of integration for the period, obviously, and then it's 6 sessions, but it's 8 weeks total. So that launched on the 10th of June. And then I've got my Turn Your Trigger into your Turn On online courses. So that's for people that they're stepping into this work. The thought of sitting in their pain, which I get it, is terrifying, right? We don't want to do that. We'll numb, we'll eat, we'll go on our phones, we're not. And that's for them to start feeling how to alchemize this pain into pleasure. It doesn't have to be sexual, but we're all working on ourselves to have a better life. And I think a lot of people are stuck in the trauma loop of re-traumatizing themselves. So, and also you can work with me one-to-one as well. So yeah, that's how you can find me. This is me, Lucy Wood, on Instagram.
Amazing. I think it's just so wild how aligned our programs are. Yeah.
Of course.
Trigger transformation for the inner child. And
Yes.
then I've got my liberated woman libido, you know, which is like all about bringing pleasure back to the women. So again, there's so many people doing this work. You're not alone. Find the facilitator that makes you feel safe. Find one that's embodied and believes in what you believe in. Everyone has their truth. Obviously, we have very similar truths, which is great to share.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that have different views, and find one for you. Like find the right facilitator, do the healing work, the inner work, and just kind of start to follow pleasure. I think that's
totally. And also, like, if you're with, I always think it's good, like, if you're with a facilitator or a coach and you kind of outgrow them in a way, that's okay. That's
totally
actually
okay.
a really good sign. I don't want you codependent on me. My big thing is, like, you're going to become the inner healer. I ain't picking up things for you. So
power's in here, baby.
Power is in here. And a lot of people don't like that at first because they're like, but I paid a bit of it. I'm like, yes, I'll support you, but you got to co-regulate on the Tuesday when our session was on the Monday. I'm here for you, but I'm not going to be physically here for you.
Nope, because then you've just replaced their mom wound.
Exactly.
And then you're just doing the whole dating thing with your clients again.
I was about to say it, and then we ain't dating you.
Yeah, exactly. But it's the same thing. It's the savior complex, right? We're trying to save our own inner child. We're saving our clients, saving our men, saving our friends. Yeah. It's the same energy. So heal that, be embodied in who you are. And so what would be your advice to a woman entrepreneur who's looking to receive more pleasure in this world?
Ooh, firstly, we never like to hear this, but slow down and breathe. Like simple things. Like the example earlier when you or I feel like I want to lash out or something or do that immediate reaction. Stop. Take a breath, because that's a huge change in itself. And that will take time. You know, often we can be very reactive and then be like, oh shit, I should have stopped then, or I should have regulated. But like simple things, stopping, box breathing, so 4 breaths through the nose, 4 out through the mouth, just being in your body. You can go to the bathroom if you work full time, like just keep it really simple. And also the other thing, if you're not feeling okay, then share it, because that builds such authentic relationships. Like I lost a lot of friends when I got into the Kundalini container, and it's because I started being myself, and I got things of being like, oh my God, what's going on? You're not okay. And I'm like, I'm a human. Like I'm not going to be okay today. But on the flip side, I've built really authentic friendships, which take time. Friendships take time, but like people that have got my fucking back, and vice versa. Like I know if I need to ring you, when you have the capacity, you will ring back and be there for me. Not, hey babe, no worries, only if you're good, then we can go shopping on Saturday. None of that shit.
No.
And I think when we start to taste authentic relationships, we become more authentic with ourselves, which is the medicine for everything, and definitely work in progress.
I know. Take the mask off. And I think you talked a lot about that. And I hope that this really helps listeners with body shame issues, struggling with eating disorders, on their healing journey, struggling with the feminine energy. I really think this podcast will really help. So thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
What a beautiful, lighthearted, and soul deep ride with Lucia. I hope this conversation reminded you that healing doesn't always have to be heavy, but it does have to be honest. And when we allow ourselves to feel, to embody, and to be real with what's moving through us, that's when transformation truly lands. And one of the most powerful pieces we touched on today is how Kundalini energy changes everything, especially in your relationships. Because when you start healing, your frequency shifts, and what you tolerate shifts, and what you attract shifts. And often your relationships start to mirror back the very work you're doing within. This is why embodiment is so key. It's not enough to read the books or sit in meditation. Your body has to live the practice. And if you're feeling called to go deeper with Kundalini energy, to not just experience it, but to embody it and guide others through it, I'd love to invite you into applying for Kundalini training through Liberated Energetics, because this is a powerful 9-month journey. We are starting in November 2025, and it's for those ready to step into the role of the embodied healer, teacher, and leader. This is not a modality, and this is application only, because we're going deep here. And it's not just about technique. It's about nervous system work, trauma integration, shadow work, and learning how to safely hold space for others through the potent medicine of Kundalini energy activation. We incorporate a lot of shamanic practices in our training, and this is a 10-day intensive that we'll be doing in February. So if something lit you up during this episode, trust that the energy doesn't lie. You can find all the details and apply through the link in the show notes, or reach out to me directly if your soul is feeling the call. Until next time, beautiful soul, keep breathing, keep moving, and keep trusting your healing path, even when it gets messy, because the medicine is deep, deep, deep in the moment when everything is falling apart.